stretch.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hardwood Hoops podcast. We've got my man Meek Mill, Lance Roberson, and DJ Gonzo Star. We're here to talk All-Star reserves as they're being announced right now on TNT, Golden State Warriors, and the beatdown they put on the San Antonio Spurs, David Blatt's coach firing, and more. If you want to join us, you can call in at 716-748-0710 and join us live. You'll need to give the PIN number 33004. Well, gentlemen, so they're announcing the All-Star reserves in about 5 minutes or so. What do you guys think of the leaked kind of reserves that have been announced? Gonzo, I'm going to start with you.
Some of them are kind of what I expected. There's one in particular I did not expect, and that was Anthony Davis. Considering the fact that his team is losing, and lately they haven't been putting like All-Star reserves. Like the last time I really remember like a losing player making an All-Star team was like, and this was probably a while back that I kind of just remember like off the top of my head was like Rolando Blackman for like Dallas Mavericks back in the day. Like he made it. He was averaging like 22 points a game, but the Mavericks sucked then. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing this year. Maybe they're trying something different. Just get the voting out of the hands of the fans, please.
Meek, what do you think, man?
Man, for the East, it pretty much went as I kind of thought. I think when I posted, I think you and I kind of got it both. I think everybody we said last night on Twitter got in the East. But in the West, I got to agree with Gonzo, man. Anthony Davis, and then even LaMarcus Aldridge. Like, neither one of those guys should have got in ahead of Dirk. It had to be Dirk. He had to get in. That's the one guy I'm shocked. He did not get in. I don't understand that. And this is on the coaches. So I'm interested in what their criteria was. Because usually the coaches will reward winning. So it will be interesting to see what their criteria was.
Well, that's a good segue to Lance, because I know he's gonna say Dirk should be in as well. What do you think, Lance? You got anybody else besides Dirk you think that should be in there?
Pau Gasol. I mean, you're averaging a double-double. I know a lot of Bulls fans don't agree with me, but you're averaging a double-double. You're still technically a winning team, although not as winning as you think they would be, or at least the Bulls fans think. I mean, once they got rid of Tibbs, I thought they wouldn't be as good. But yeah, man, Dirk not getting in is robbery, and I'm glad Cousins got in, though. I will say I'm glad Cousins got in because he usually gets snubbed. Also, Lillard not getting in. Career high in assists and career high in points, or actually in threes, I believe, 37%. And I thought those would go down that percentage. But yeah, Dirk not getting in, especially with his team being a lot better than a lot of people thought, including me. I mean, I believe they're like fifth seed right now, ahead of the Rockets, and I think Portland that's 8th seed, or is it the Kings? Yeah.
Well, I think
they're kind of tied.
Yeah, this is close. And the Pelicans are nowhere near it. And everyone wanted to crown Anthony Davis as the MVP this year. We got too excited. After seeing him get swept in the playoffs, we get excited. And trust me, his numbers look great. So I'm not going to down him as a player. But if he had that much of an impact, his team wouldn't stink as bad.
And remember, they were going to win 55 games this year.
Yeah. I know that there's been injuries, so I'm not trying to be a butthole, but if he really impacted the team, they wouldn't be. Man, they're like exact opposite record of the Mavs. So, yeah, that's what I got to say. It's really disappointing. I thought the coaches would get it right, and that's how it is, I guess, this year.
I think based on the rumored kind of choices, they're selecting them now. The Eastern Conference is up. It looks like so far everything is accurate as far as the picks that got leaked. The biggest I guess excitement I have for it is Isaiah Thomas making the All-Star team. That guy deserves it. 60th pick in the draft. Nobody gave him a shot coming out of Washington, and he's basically kept the Celtics in playoff contention, top 5 in the East, right now. But as we know, the East is really competitive this year. One loss and you're out of the playoffs, picture right now. But he's carried that Boston team. He's not that good defensively, but he's an offensive juggernaut. For the West, I think that the biggest snub is obviously Dirk Nowitzki. But I think, like he said on the broadcast, I think it was 2 nights ago, he really wants to spend time with his family, go to the beach, and things like that. So it gives him some rest, get ready for the second half of the season. Anthony Davis should not be there. Injuries to that team. You know, I'm a big believer in you make the All-Star team because you've elevated your team to a higher level. Damian Lillard, keeping Portland competitive, should be in there for sure. So,
Absolutely.
Well, it looks like going through everything, you know, is correct. Like I said, as far as the All-Stars for the East, Kemba Walker and Charlotte is another surprise. I think that, as we've all discussed, basically the biggest gripe we have all said is having the All-Star starters picked by the fans, because you get players that are not All-Star caliber this year, like Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, taking up spots. Kobe Bryant with the sympathy legacy choice this year by the fans. It really does hurt the kind of voting process. Gonzo, what you think, man? I know you're with me on this one.
Yeah, you know, fans are not picking because of what they're seeing. Most of them are picking off emotion. They're emotional picks. You know, like Kobe Bryant is totally an emotional pick. There's no way I could put him as an All-Star this year. You know, it's all emotion, and that's why I say, period, the All-Stars, period, fans really should only count for maybe 10% of that vote, because people are just so biased towards who they like. They're not going to come out and be honest about, hey, this guy deserves to be in there and this guy doesn't. You know, so to me, it should really be taken out of fans' hands completely, because I'm just looking at like the Dwayne Wade being an All-Star. No way. I wouldn't even put John Wall as an All-Star right now.
Oh wow.
I'm sorry. Like he can give you 18 and 10, but let's be honest.
His team sucks.
I mean, but it's the same. It's pretty much the same team from last year.
Yeah.
But it's like, where's he elevating that team this year? Nowhere.
They're worse than last year.
Yeah, and that's what I think. I mean, okay, you don't have Paul Pierce, but
they're worse than they were. They're worse than they were 2 years ago when they beat the Bulls.
Yeah,
Also,
exactly. And this is my thing. They got Paul Pierce, right? And Paul Pierce came in last year and really wasn't like a big part of the team, but he kind of must have did something to the mentality of the players to make them play better.
Intangible.
You know, to elevate their level of play. Where's John Wall doing that? Bradley Beal, I know he's injury prone. I think he's kind of inconsistent anyway, but John Wall should be able to take these guys over the top. I just don't see the Wizards. I don't even think they'll even sniff the playoffs.
Wow.
Man.
That's crazy, because I think the biggest thing with Washington is they changed their dynamic scheme, going from Nene being a starter to turning Chris Humphries into a three-point shooter. So I think that has a little bit to do with it, along with, like you said, the injury to Bradley Beal. That's who they relied on to take a huge step forward and basically be that second dynamic backcourt in the NBA behind Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. Speaking of the Golden State Warriors, they put an ass whooping on San Antonio.
Yes, they did.
What, Lance? I'm gonna let you start it out. What do you think of that? The dredging they put on San Antonio.
I was severely disappointed because this is the only time a Monday night game was marketed as something big. You know, usually they don't have no great games marketed on Mondays, and everyone hyped it up. Oh, like what are they gonna do? But as soon as they said Tim Duncan's not playing, and I'm not saying Tim Duncan's the reason why they lost, but I just felt that maybe they're not going to show their whole deck. But either way, like they tried. I mean, they didn't start out the game with Leonard on Curry, but they went to it. But we saw what happened. He sliced and diced them up. I'm going to say now that Curry's the best player in the NBA. And I've been saying this to LeBron, even when Curry was going off, it's Curry, man. They embarrassed the second best team, and we both thought they were on the same level. And I'm not saying that it won't go to 7 games, but I mean, even a lot of people still thought the Spurs were favored, and including me. I think Curry's the best player in the NBA, and the Spurs started off so bad. It was like 7 turnovers in the first quarter. Within the first 6 minutes, there was like 6 or 7 turnovers. And that's what I got to say. I mean, whatever y'all have to say. Curry's the best player, man, in the NBA.
What you think, man?
I think when you watch the game, like Lance said, all the turnovers with the Spurs, but I think it was partly the pace of the game. They were forcing the Spurs to play really, really fast. LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't want to play fast. I mean, the only one who didn't seem phased really was Kawhi Leonard, because he can play that. He's a young guy, still a lot of energy, but they just seemed like they were playing too fast, causing these turnovers, which they're not used to that pace. They're usually controlling the pace of the game, and on Monday night, man, it was just up and down, and Aldridge just doesn't look like he's built for that life. Like it seems like every big moment you put that guy in, he kind of fades and just fades away. I don't know, because he's the guy who should carry them offensively. You got to, he's got to step up, slow the game down, get it to him. But he wasn't doing that. He was turning it over. I guess Tony Parker was turning it over a lot.
It was really a collection of all of them, because there were some bad passes like into the post where Draymond Green was down there, and of course they went and flooded whoever they tried to pass it to Kawhi down low, but Draymond was like right there and instantly a turnover. There's a lot of instances where it's pretty much as a team.
It's like they were forcing a lot of things that just weren't there. Yeah. Just trying to play that pace, and it just wasn't working. And I agree, Duncan would have changed it a little bit, because I think he could have calmed them down a little bit. They wouldn't have had as many easy layups at the basket as they did. The Warriors would, because Duncan's probably, he's still one of the best rim protectors in the league, so all those layups wouldn't have been there. But still, you throw Duncan in the game, instead of losing by 30, what do they lose by 12 or 13 still? Yeah. Probably, but even in a best of 7, I don't see anybody beating this Warrior team. And Curry did prove he's the best player in the league. He had the best ball defender on him, and Kawhi, he made Kawhi look stupid. Like even at the beginning of the game, Curry's he only scored such and such points on him, and at the end of the first, I think, and in the second, but he was getting by him every time. Kawhi could not keep him in front of him at all.
Gonzo, what did you see anything kind of that stuck out to you as far as not only what Golden State was able to do on the offensive end, but what the Spurs kind of ran into on their offensive end? It was almost like they were a marginal mid-tier team going against Golden State. What did you see?
I think that the Spurs, there's quite a few things I saw in the game. I think that the Spurs were trying to play a fast pace, something that when I say fast, I'm talking about Golden State fast pace, which is a little too fast for them. Mm-hmm. But I also see one thing. This is what I see. This is how I honestly think you beat somebody like Steph Curry, first of all. I think Golden State found a loophole in some of the rules of the NBA game, and I'll tell you that in a minute. I'm gonna tell you what I would do. I would probably trap Curry and worry about the guy rolling to the basket. I would much rather see Klay Thompson shoot more threes and Draymond Green shoot more threes. Why? Because I'm gonna tell you why. They don't shoot like Curry from 3. And Klay Thompson, he's inconsistent. He's not a consistent where he's always scoring like Steph Curry from 3. He's not.
True.
So I would force those guys to shoot one. And I'm gonna tell you what I would do. If you have a point guard like Tony Parker, I would send him or whoever's guarding Curry's guarding, I would continually attack Curry, because he's probably one of the weakest defenders on the team. Because if you tire him out on defense, I bet you he probably won't be as effective scoring in the offensive end, because fatigue will set in, because now he has to play defense, and now it's more physicality involved. I think. Huh?
I was gonna say that's a great point with Curry, because they hide him so much on defense. Make him work.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. Can I just jump in? Real quick to that point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
A lot of players have said that, including Lawson. All these players keep saying they're gonna make him work, but it doesn't. I know it'll be different in the playoffs, but it just hasn't seemed to work yet. All these point guards are talking about they'll make him work. But
and you know what? They can't, because I'm gonna tell you why I don't think they can't. Because usually Klay Thompson is guarding that prolific point guard. Mm-hmm. So whoever Curry's guarding should attack Curry. So if Curry was to get somebody like a J.R. Smith, sticking him in the finals, if I was J.R. Smith, I would completely every chance I get a chance, I would attack Curry.
He would do that without like.
You know what though? I don't know. The problem with J.R. Smith, J.R. Smith could be a top 2 guard in the league, but he just jacks up threes all
Threes.
the
And
time.
that's my point.
That's his problem. He
The
was
last time
shooting
they played, he
threes.
did that, and they were still
Exactly.
getting beat by like 10 or 12, and he had the most points in the first quarter, and they're still getting beat by 10.
Yeah, that's because he's shooting more jumpers, so Steph Curry really doesn't have to work a
Yeah.
whole lot to
No.
defend. So
Just put a
he's
hand
not tired
up.
of the offensive end. You
No,
know, he just puts
that's
a hand up.
That's
But-
assuming that the Cavaliers are there in the finals.
Whoa.
I'm assuming I don't even think they'll make it, but I'm just using an example how they could have attacked Steph Curry in the playoffs. Like, okay, Steph Curry was sticking Dellavedova. If I was Dellavedova, I wouldn't set up a lot of shots. I would attack him. I would keep attacking him because guess what? When Dellavedova was attacking in those first 2 games, you saw Curry was very ineffective those first 2 games. And guess what? It slowed the pace of Golden State, and Cavaliers were in the game. A problem I see with LaMarcus Aldridge is he's a face-up shooter.
Mhm.
If that was Tim Duncan sticking Draymond Green, he would have ate Draymond Green's lunch. Those would have been easy buckets.
Hell yes.
Because
Yeah,
LaMarcus
I
Aldridge missed
agree
a
that-
lot of layups.
Mhm.
But-
I agree. Tim Duncan makes the biggest difference in that
Biggest
game.
difference. And one more thing. Golden State has found the loophole in the rules with these screens. If you watch the screens, they said they're not really screens. The players pretend like they're kind of in the way. Yeah, like moving screens. It's almost like they're offensive linemen. They'll stop. Like Draymond Green was in front of Steph Curry up the court, and all of a sudden he slowed down to catch the guy who was trying to stick defense on him and allow Steph Curry to run around him. So they like setting screens without setting screens. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're in screen formation, so you can't call it because they're not setting themselves up for like to set themselves up for a pick. But what they're doing is very, very illegal. That's the reason why they're getting all the open looks. So they found the loophole in the rules too. They know what they're doing. They studied that rule book thoroughly. Trust me.
Steve Kerr.
Absolutely.
No, with actually, but that's a good point. With Steve Kerr and who was it? Luke Walton. Sorry, I had brain fart there. Do you think that there's a difference as far as schematically with the Warrior system as far as going forward on how they operate on offense, or do you think it's just a seamless transition going back to Steve Kerr?
I think it was the exact same thing.
I didn't notice. Honestly,
No.
didn't notice too much.
Mm-mm. I think even Luke said it. He was just doing the same stuff Steve did.
Yeah.
Like, there was no difference. He was just running the same stuff. Even, like, his rotations were, the minutes, the way he would sub Curry in and stuff, the way he did the substitutions was exactly the same. But that may be, some of that on the other assistants as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the defense is going to look the same because is it Ron Adams that's their defensive coach?
Yeah, Ron Adams is their.
Yeah. So everything on defense was going to look the same. Offensively, it did look the same to me. There wasn't. The only difference this year is Curry's just he's shooting more, but he's making the same percentage of shots.
He's making 30-footers
Yeah.
like it's putt-putt.
You saw that shot he made in Detroit like a couple weeks. He shot that from the damn P on the logo.
Let me ask this: with the Spurs, because the West is usually the most competitive, especially with the playoffs, Oklahoma City could surprise some people. The fraudulent Rockets could sneak, some wins in there. You never know. Do you think that the Spurs kind of played possum in this game, not to give away too much with their schemes and things like that, with Duncan resting, so that way they don't give a full look to Golden State of what they're going to go against come playoff time? Or do you think that it's just Golden State being that good, no matter who they face, they're going to run through?
No, I think it's what you just said. I think they're not going to show they're not going to show the whole deck of cards. Like the same thing he did every time Greg Popovich played Miami. When Miami is really dominant, he'll sit Tim Duncan, he'll sit Ginobili, he'll sit Parker. He would do that all the time. Like every time they played, until they got fined one time, and then the time after that they ended up playing them. But
TV game.
he set it. He set it up so, like I said, he won't show his whole hand. But I'm gonna tell you something. After seeing last night's game, I'm gonna tell you something that I think I might have made a mistake. I don't think San Antonio will be a good match overall for Golden State in a series. I'm gonna tell you a team who I think could actually run with Golden State, it's a better. I don't think they can win a championship, but I think they're a better matchup for Golden State. The more I look at them, and I think it's because of point guard play, and it comes down to being able to protect the rim too, and having a few guys that can kind of handle the ball and kind of force Klay Thompson to kind of work on defense. I think it's the Clippers.
Yeah.
The Clippers have always kept it very, very close with Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
I know they when they're playing Mark Jackson, but Chris Paul makes Steph Curry work. You know what I'm saying, on the defensive end.
Game 7, right?
And Clay's got to guard Redick, and Clay's gonna have to chase him all around the floor.
Not to mention,
Redick never stops moving.
He might also have to guard Jamal Crawford, who has a great handle on the ball, who can light it up at any time. They have a rim protector. They have a power forward that you have to count for. Somebody like Blake Griffin, when he's healthy, can get Bogan and Festus Ezeli in foul trouble. You know, then you got Paul Pierce now on the team, and so they have a lot of key pieces on their team that can actually beat a team like Golden State. Not to say they can beat a team like the Spurs again or win a championship for that matter. I don't think they can beat OKC, but I think they can beat Golden State in a series because for some strange reason I think it's just familiarity kind of.
It's a good matchup.
Allows them to.
Yeah,
you know, and they're familiar with them. They know their style of play, you know, to a degree. You know what I'm saying? So I think that works out a lot, you know.
Now, with the recent news of Blake Griffin beating the hell out of the equipment manager, which is actually one of his good friends, we don't know the full details. I'm hoping that a video or something comes out soon so we can kind of see exactly what happened or you know, what's going on. But 4 to 6 weeks is what Blake Griffin is out right now with the fractured hand. It's actually, if it's going to be a time that Blake Griffin misses, it's actually a pretty good stretch for the Clippers to kind of get through because they're only really going against above 500 teams. There's only like 6 games that they have to get through, you know, in that span of really competitive teams. It also kind of gives Blake Griffin a chance to scout some other teams while he's not playing and come back and be that much more effective come later in the season, and especially come playoff time. I do think with, like you said, Gonzo, with Paul Pierce being there, it gives them that experience in the playoffs, gives them that killer instinct. Chris Paul, of course. You know, JJ Redick, I mean, he's a killer coming off screens. You know, I guess you can throw in DeAndre Jordan kind of being in there, of course, getting rebounds and blocks. What do you guys think as far as with Blake Griffin? Do you think it was just a immature move, or based on kind of what we've kind of gotten bits and pieces of as far as the story goes, or do you think it's no big deal? Lance, what do you think, man?
All right. Well, first of all, I mean, obviously, can't really say too much, but once we find out more, there's got to be a suspension. Because that's a guy that works for the Clippers. It's not like some dude, one of his friends that's in his entourage. No, this guy works for the organization. And I'm pretty sure he probably worked with him for a while. Because, you know, the equipment guys, they don't really just leave. They're staying with the team for years and years. And you hit him enough to break your hand, and you're in public. There's got to be a suspension, and what is he gonna be out for? Like 3 to 4 weeks?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. I'm not gonna be the one to say how much he should get suspended, but I mean he's got to get suspended, man. And I think they'll be fine for now, but they, like you said, like when they went on that big winning streak, they only played 3 above 500 teams. So I don't know how much longer they can last without him, but he just did his team a big disservice by doing this. So,
what you think, Meek?
I think I don't know if he'll be suspended. I know they said today there won't be any criminal charges or anything. If anything happens, they'll settle, like they would settle like up out of, you know, in private and stuff like that. But I'm gonna take it a step further and read. You saw, I don't know if it was Doc or Ballmer, but they said stuff like that has no place in our game or in our organization. It almost sounds like he maybe worn his welcome out with the Clippers. They've played well without him. I'm not saying they're better without him, but if you move him and get a couple pieces, could you be better? So I think it's a possibility you could see him moved.
Wow.
I'm not going to make a guarantee, but I think maybe they move him. because I mean you see in the playoffs, close games, and he makes dumb decisions down the stretch. Maybe you move him. Maybe you move him to the Bulls. I'm not just saying that because I don't want him on. I honestly don't want him on. I don't think he would fit on the Bulls. But I mean, would they trade him for maybe Powell, Portis, and the Sacramento pick? Because it looks like the Bulls will get that pick this year. Because I don't think it's going to be a top 10.
Well, in the 14 games he's missed, they're 11-3 right now. So
yeah, and everybody says, well, they haven't played, just won in Atlanta last night. So Atlanta's a good team, and they won on the road, so they can beat good teams on the road.
What do you think, Gonzo, real quick? Then we'll jump to.
I'm gonna tell you something. I think that part of it is immaturity. Maybe frustration from being injured, but I think it's immaturity. Let me tell you something. If I was an athlete, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm making that type of money, there's nothing in this planet that's gonna make me that mad to do anything stupid. Because I've come so far, and it's very seldomly that people make this type of money in their life. I'm not gonna do anything to ruin that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna, and I don't want to ruin my chances possibly in the future of going to a team where I could possibly make more money. So for myself, I don't want to create. I wouldn't want to be a problem. I would want people to want me in their organization. You know what I'm saying? So I guess part of it's immaturity, but maybe it's probably frustration because Blake Griffin has had a lot of little nagging injuries. He missed his whole first real rookie season.
He's been injury prone his whole career.
Meniscus tears and all type of stuff. I mean, he's had a lot of little injuries. He's just frustrated. Right now, the Clippers are doing really, really good without him. I think, honestly, I'm not saying they're a better team, but he does stagnate the offense, I think.
Mm-hmm. They look better kind of running kind of through Redick. They actually look – there's a lot more movement. I'm not saying Redick's a go-to guy, but, I mean, they've looked well moving it through him.
Yeah, and usually when you play basketball, if you're moving in space on the floor, it's easy for your offense to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you got a guy like when you got a guy like Blake Griffin who's kind of standing on the elbow and just waiting to get a jump shot, it's like he's not really doing a lot of moving. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So he kind of anticipates, and a lot of people have to stand around and stop moving because they got to anticipate what he's going to do next before they can even make a move.
Shoot, DeAndre Jordan moves more than he does. He doesn't get it on the perimeter, but he's always moving. He sets screens. He goes to the basket, and
a great point what you make. Like right now, what you're saying, exactly. That's how he's usually getting his lobs moving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like moving around.
He can't get his points anyway else.
That's all right though. That's why he couldn't play for the Mavericks because he would have actually that was a blessing him leaving. Z-Patch is a much better fit for that team, and I like that new guy they got in there right now while Z-Patch is out. I like him. He's not bad.
Oh, so Measuring.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, that's the funny thing with Blake Griffin being out. The Clippers basically with J.J. Redick stepping in, he's a second option behind Chris Paul. Mm-hmm. Chris Paul has just been on a tear since Blake Griffin's been out. It's funny to me that all the hype, over the summer was that DeAndre Jordan was going to go to the Mavericks, of course, and he was going to be this big, kind of star. Yeah. Oh, he's going to be a post option. He goes back to the Clippers. Nothing changed from any other season with him. He catches blocks, basically a 60%, finisher at the rim or more, and that's it. I mean, he doesn't do anything else. So if you're the Clippers, Blake Griffin, breaks his hand. Basically, it's his ring finger on his right hand, or his right hand. So it's basically the ring finger on your right hand. I don't know what you call it, but
I think it was the fifth metatarsal.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
medical man over here.
Yeah, but based on that means you have to hit somebody and repeatedly hit them the wrong way. So it's almost like he threw a sucker punch, maybe caught him a couple more times and hit him the wrong way and his hand got caught. So why would you be that stupid if you are a franchise star, you're on dozens of commercials, and you would put yourself in that situation, and then it's a friend at that in public? I mean, if you want to beat the hell out of a guy in private and nobody sees it, then you do what you need to do.
Well, I think Lance was right on in our little pre-show. I think the drink was involved.
Yeah, and
had to be.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, is it a publicity stunt? You can look at it another way.
Well, but he's going to lose endorsements now because he was one of the good
Yeah.
guys of the NBA.
Yeah.
He had all these commercials of him being goofy.
And those damn Kia commercials were
Yeah.
funny as hell.
Yeah, they were actually not bad. He's gonna lose endorsements because this is this is immature, man.
Yeah.
Kind of branching off of that, Josh Smith was traded last week.
Mm-hmm.
In hindsight, would they have moved Josh Smith? Because they need him right now. Because your backup 4 is basically, you're having to start Luke Amute, and your backup 4 is Brandon Dawson, and basically you got Cole Aldridge as a backup center. You don't have much behind them. Wesley Johnson might be able to move up from the 3 to the 4, or
play a little small ball. Pierce is even playing a little 4
because he can't guard nobody.
Yeah, I was about to say Pierce is way past being able to guard pretty much anybody. So.
I don't think Josh Smith just fit with that team.
Well, him and Doc didn't get along. I've watched a couple Clippers games, and he's like arguing with him like clearly on the sidelines. So
yeah, they did the right thing moving him. He didn't fit, and that would have just killed the locker room even more. And Houston is just the perfect place for him.
He played well, man. People like to make fun of him. He played well for the Houston Rockets in the playoffs.
He's the reason they came back in that game. Him and freaking Corey Brewer.
He kicked the Mavericks' ass too. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
he killed us.
He's putting up decent numbers since he went back to Houston.
What are they? 3-1 since he got traded to the Rockets? They got blasted last night, but they don't match up well with the Spurs.
Angry, obviously.
Yeah, they don't match up well with the Spurs.
No. Terrence Jones is a trade candidate, so they're gonna basically he's gone at the trade.
I think so.
Yeah.
And Donatas Motiejunas has been injured all season.
They can't trade him. He's injury prone. Who's gonna take him?
So basically that elevates Josh Smith into playing time, and he's actually a decent player if he's not launching 3 after 3.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with Houston and of course the Clippers as we're going forward. I still think that Houston's a fraudulent team. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah. I think they're going to move up. I think they'll finish 5th overall.
Yeah,
I think they'll finish 5th. Yeah. I know. They'll just lose. They'll get. I would like to see a rematch in the first round with the Clippers and the Rockets.
Yeah. Gonzo, what's your thoughts on Houston, real quick?
Houston, I really don't have any thoughts. They have a starting 6-man. They have Dwight Howard. Yes. And guess what? They fired Kevin McHale when it was obviously not his fault. And his Bickerstaff dude sucks. So
he's an interim.
Yeah. So who's the coach next year for the Rockets? Luke Walton.
Oh,
you don't want that team.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you be the perfect.
Thibodeau.
Absolutely, he will be perfect for what they have.
Yeah.
Look at Josh Smith can play defense. Corey Brewer can play defense. Dwight Howard can play defense. Clint Capella can play defense. Pat Beverly can play defense. They got a lot of defensive pieces on this.
That's true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, Thibodeau, that'll be perfect for them.
And they can stay do the same offense because they just run ISO ball with Harden.
No, don't stay the same offense.
It is the same. That's what he's going to do. He's just give the ball to Harden and let him do what he wants.
That's not good, though.
That's the Thibodeau offense, though. That's what he does.
Is it?
Yes. That's absolutely what he does. And the sad thing is, Hoiberg was supposed to come in and change that for the Bulls. They run more ISO ball than they did last year.
It's just either Butler or Rose this time.
Yeah, that's the problem because they got them both healthy now, and I think that's a bad backcourt. Even if Rose were MVP Rose, it would still not work.
Terrible because they both need the ball and they don't pass much.
All right. Switching gears, let's jump since we're talking about coaches. We missed it by one day. Friday, the news came out. David Blatt fired by the Cavaliers. Tyronn Lue, who we all remember, used to play for the Lakers. He basically got his ass crossed over by Allen Iverson in the playoffs and stepped over. We've all seen the memes and the vines and all that.
I'm guilty. I posted one of them.
Yeah. Do you guys think, before we get into the whole LeBron angle and everything like that, do you think that Cleveland is going to be that much better, not only this season, but going forward with Tyronn Lue at the helm over David Blatt?
No. And here's my reason why. LeBron has already they've been very effective with an up-tempo offense this year. And Tyronn told the team the other day they need to get back to getting a little up-tempo. And the first thing you do, your leader, who is so-called King James, had the nerve to complain and say he doesn't think an up-tempo offense is good for this team. Excuse me, sir. You won 2 championships playing an up-tempo offense. Did you or did you not? Now you're going to complain about it when your team is actually more effective. And part of that, when they're playing an up-tempo offense, LeBron's not doing majority of the scoring. I'm starting to believe he's more of a selfish player.
Ooh.
Wow. What do you think, Lance?
Okay, so I'm not going to comment on what Lou will do because, I mean, we've got a small sample size, so it's kind of hard to do that. But I will say, how do you fire a coach that's first in the East, has one of the better records
30
like,
and
in his
11.
career with them? So that's all I'll speak on that. And I think it was ugly how they fired him. And I don't think their gameplay is going to change too much. I really don't. I just think the game's going to go how LeBron wants it to go, not how Lou wants it to go.
LeBron is the coach.
Yeah, Lou is an easier yes man for LeBron.
Go ahead.
That's what I think about it.
Yeah, Lance is right, man. I think, LeBron. I don't know if y'all saw the report originally. LeBron wanted Mark Jackson as the coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. LeBron. I think he does like.
He's a player's coach.
Yeah. I don't think Lou's going to make any kind of difference because they got this. They need to make a move they need a personnel move. Either Kyrie or Kevin Love has to go.
They
Not
just need
because
to
they're
use
just
Love better.
like I think Kevin Love is definitely overrated. He's not that number one power forward like everyone was. He's overrated. He's not a bad player. He's an all-star, borderline all-star guy. He gets you 18 points, the double-digit rebounds, but he plays zero defense. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. Like you put both of those guys in the pick and roll, it's ugly. They cannot defend it. And the sad thing is Kyrie is capable. He's a capable defender. That tells me he does not want to play defense. So
he's a walking stretcher, though.
Yeah, and he gets hurt. Yeah, he's got that Duke curse. You either suck or you get hurt.
Couple things with you mentioned Mark Jackson. Everybody in Golden State, except for Andrew Bogut, I should say, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they all love playing for Mark Jackson. Steph Curry shared the same faith as Mark Jackson. He was shown the door. Of course, Golden State then goes from a first round or second round exit to winning the NBA Finals within the season. Cleveland's case, you go back in the history with LeBron. Paul Silas, go way back to his first tenure. He gets rid of Paul Silas. Mike Brown comes in. Mike Brown's gone. LeBron goes to Miami. He walks into Pat Riley's office and says, I want Eric Spoelstra out of here. Pat Riley says, you can kiss my ass, get on a plane and go back to Cleveland. You're not running the show here. LeBron says, I can't deal with this. I want it my way. So that's the underlying reason why he went back to Cleveland, plain and simple. He wanted to run it with his guys, Worldwide West and some other, of his entourage. He gets into Cleveland. He's there basically a week after David Blatt's hired. David Blatt was hired to coach Andrew Wiggins, Deion Waiters, Kyrie Irving, and Tristan Thompson. That he was there to elevate the young guys, get them experience, things like that.
Yep.
Didn't talk to LeBron, gets signed. Didn't talk to David Blatt for 2 weeks. The writing was on the wall there. Tyronn Lue was being looked at as a top assistant because he was in Boston and then with the Clippers with Doc Rivers. He interviewed for the same job that David Blatt got and ended up being the associate head coach. That should tell you right there that some funny things were going on behind the scenes. If you're the leading toe-to-toe candidate against David Blatt and then you get hired as the associate head coach, which is basically a co-head coach job,
right?
It's kind of fishy. The reports came out last year that, Tyronn Lue was going behind David Blatt's back and getting the player support and undermining Blatt's coaching tenure. LeBron didn't like being told what to do, and so that kind of pieced it together. David Blatt's indecisiveness as far as being able to call a freaking play, that didn't take well to any of the fans in Cleveland or any of the players on the team.
Hey, Pete.
So, yeah.
Also, there was reports of him when they watched game tape. He would blatantly ignore the LeBron mistakes
Yeah.
He'd go point out other things, and that automatically loses respect, especially from the guys that play hard like Deladova. They're like, well, what about this? We got to hold everyone accountable, you know?
Well, then the final thing I want to say about LeBron, LeBron pushed Andrew Wiggins out the door to get Kevin Love.
In that letter, remember? He didn't put him in the letter.
And Kevin Love comes in, and he takes a step backwards because Kevin Love was used to being the first option. 26 and
18,
points a game, 14 rebounds.
Yeah.
He's going to 16 points a game and 9, 10 rebounds, being the third option.
I think he thought he was going to be the 2 option going in.
Right. Kyrie.
He's not getting the ball where he wants it, so it's not comfortable for him anymore.
No.
Kyrie's the second option, and Kevin Love is resorted to being a 3-point shooter instead of playing on the block.
Yep.
All of that because of LeBron James. And then LeBron James wants to say that he wants to slow down the pace because if you watched the playoffs last season, LeBron James dominated in the post. LeBron's mid-range shots and his 3-point shooting is way down from earlier in his career.
Yeah.
He's not a good shooter, and so that ruins the space for anybody else. So with that, Tyronn Lue is basically, like you said, a yes man as far as, with LeBron James. I'm going to hold you accountable in public, on some things, but behind the scenes he's going to say, man, do whatever you do. You're going to wheel us to, the NBA Finals. And then come NBA Finals time, when LeBron James, if he even makes it, you got to get past Toronto and Chicago first.
Dude.
If they make it, LeBron's going to have a scapegoat right there in Kevin Love if they don't play well, which then leads to Kevin Love being traded. And, what do you have to show if you're Cleveland? Because LeBron's basically on a gutted roster again. I don't think he ever wins an NBA championship again.
No, neither do I.
What do you guys think? You think LeBron wins another championship?
Absolutely not. But I got something to add to your point, though, Petey.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what LeBron did. LeBron, when he realized that he didn't want to be in Miami anymore, he felt like he can go to Cleveland. They can get him whatever coach that he wanted to play the style he wanted to play. But what he wanted to do was he wanted to take Miami's system and bring it to Cleveland. Give you an example. He saw Kyrie Irving like a Dwayne Wade, good finisher at the rim. But one thing he got mistaken was that Kyrie isn't as consistent as Dwayne Wade. That's one. He wanted Chris Bosh. He wanted Kevin Love to be like Chris Bosh. But let me tell you something. They both shoot threes. They both shoot threes. But let me tell you something. Chris Bosh is a much better defender than Kevin Love will ever be.
And he can put it on the floor.
Absolutely. Then another thing, they got Mozgov, somebody like a Chris Anderson, somebody who can protect the rim. They went and got J.R. Smith because they couldn't get Ray Allen because he wanted to stay retired. They went and got Mike Miller. He brought James Jones. He tried to bring the Miami Heat to Cleveland.
Yeah, he tried to get Ray Allen.
And tried to get Ray Allen. Absolutely. So what he did was he said, okay, you guys won't give me what I want. I'll make what I want in Cleveland. But what he's doing is he's not getting the players that he needs. I'm going to tell you something. I think the way Andrew Wiggins is developing, I'm starting to see that was the worst mistake he made.
Yes.
And I think he just traded his ring away. He'll never get another ring in the NBA.
What do you guys think about him getting a ring?
Okay, so man, it's gonna be hard. Not in Cleveland.
I don't think it's that hard. I think no.
And not in Cleveland. Not in Cleveland. I honestly just lost. I don't have any respect for that organization, man. They're letting one person run their whole organization. And one person made a good point. I forgot what podcast it was, but all the greats have been needed to be coached. Even Kobe Bryant with Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan with Phil Jackson. Sometimes a great player just has to listen to other, like an input on in something, But LeBron just thinks that he even came out and said that somebody his basketball IQ is so high, he thinks he should be able to, say something. But I mean, they're a head coach for a reason, Like they have skill in what they do enough to be in the NBA coaching grown men. Sometimes you just have to listen. Now I'm not going to say maybe listen to Blatt all the time because we did see him with some very flawed views and calls. But sooner or later, LeBron's going to have to take heed to what another person says, especially a head coach. It's going to have to happen. But yeah, I don't think he's going to win in Cleveland. I mean, because this roster's everyone's talking crap, but they're number one in the East and debate. Like I cannot debate with anyone who can beat them in the East. I mean, yeah, you could say, well, Toronto's playing better, but let's be serious.
Chicago can beat them. The problem is, can Chicago get to that point where they're going to play Cleveland?
They might not make it out the first round.
That's the problem. If Chicago plays Cleveland, I think they beat them this year.
They were close last year.
If the roster stays kind of as is, because if trades are made, you don't know how that's going to shake things up. And that's why I won't say no that LeBron can't win one, because they got a trade piece in Kevin Love that maybe they could get some pieces that will fit.
They ain't beating the Warriors.
But they still got to go against. Yeah, they still got to go against the West. They're not.
They're not going to beat the Spurs. It wouldn't be OKC. They wouldn't even beat the Clippers.
Whoa.
No, they would not beat the Clippers in a 7-game series.
Clippers would fall apart somehow, and Cleveland would.
That's the problem. See, that's the problem with the Clippers. They can look like like I think we can all agree. You watch the Clippers, and sometimes you're like, damn, this is the best team in the league. Right. But then they find a way to lose.
It's mental. That's all it is. For them, at this point, it's mental. They have all the skill in the world. You know what they look like? It's almost like, remember back in the day, I know we can all remember, when the Rockets could not beat Seattle? They just could not beat those guys. It's almost like that. Like, when they play a really good team, and they just find a way to lose. I think LeBron would have a better chance of winning a championship if he was in the West. Because there might be a chance where he don't have to play the Warriors. Because what if the Warriors get eliminated by somebody else?
Man, that's why he needs to go to the Lakers then. Because he's got to go to the team. He's got to. See, that's why he wants him to go to the Mavs.
But I'm gonna tell you something.
I knew there was an agenda.
This is a question I have to ask though. After LeBron left Cleveland and all this coming back, I want to ask a question. Would any ring that he win anywhere else, would it even matter?
No.
What do you mean?
He has to win in Cleveland.
No, because if he goes to another team, say he leaves Cleveland, all it's going to do is bring up tarnish his legacy, because you're jumping to a team. It's going to have to be somewhere that's already got stacked pieces. It's like you're not winning it on putting the team on your back. You're not Michael Jordan. You're not Kobe. You know. Yeah.
He's a mercenary for hire, man.
Watch what LeBron's gonna do. Watch Kevin Durant signs with the Knicks in the offseason. LeBron's like, you know what? I'll opt out. I'll take the minimum contract. I'll go play with Porzingis and Durant.
2K right here.
There ain't no way. If Kevin Durant ain't going to New York.
I'm just saying. Well, I don't know, man. I actually think
that media would kill him. That media would rip him to shreds. He can't even handle Oklahoma small town media.
That's true.
Isolo would kill him.
That's true. Because I've said it before, and I think everybody's probably heard me say it on Kevin Durant. Everybody went after LeBron before he won the title. Yeah, he took his extra. He did so. He had to go to Miami. He got his rings, but before that, he always got. There was always people going at him. Does Kevin Durant deserve the same treatment?
Well, he's getting it now.
Yeah, he deserves it. I think he does.
Because he talks crap about the media. He was the media's darling. I don't understand why you go at the media when you're the media's darling. And now you messed that up. Now everyone's coming at you.
He deserves it, though. I mean, look when they played the Spurs a couple years ago, and he dribbled off his foot?
Yeah.
Come on now. You can't do that.
He's still one of the greatest players of the game.
Oh, yeah.
It's just he's not a dominant, I'm not going to call.
He can't do it by himself.
I'm not going to say he's not an alpha dog.
He's not Kobe or Jordan or one of those guys. He's not.
There is no more Kobe's.
No.
Well, with LeBron, just a yes or no answer. I'm going to kind of go down the line. Does this tarnish his overall reputation? What's happened this year? Yes or no?
Absolutely yes.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, just because I think people feel the way they feel about him. I mean, for some people, yes, but they probably already hated him anyway. Some people are going to say no. He is who he is. I think it just depends.
I think it's yes, because I've always had this image, and a lot of other people. He's just one of the most unselfish basketball players, and also he doesn't really get into much scandals and have his name in the dirty stuff. And this is like one of the bigger things. So.
That's why I don't think he's going to really tarnish. Because I mean, off the court, for the most part, he is one of the good guys. I mean,
he's a great guy off the court.
Yeah, what did he do? He's putting 1,000 kids through college, paying for it in full.
He's a great guy.
And if he were doing crazy stuff off the court, with today's world, everybody's got a camera on their phone. He'd be caught. he would be in trouble if he were doing some things. So that's why I don't think it will completely to maybe just, as far as him being a coach killer and stuff like that, maybe.
Okay. Well, speaking of off the court kind of news, rumor came out today. There's no teams tied to this rumor, no players tied to this rumor. But D'Angelo Russell is on the trade block for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, he's on the block.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like it's too soon for the Lakers to get rid of him? If you're looking at the NBA offseason, Jordan Clarkson's a free agent. Kobe Bryant's retiring. Do you get rid of a piece like D'Angelo Russell that could turn into a franchise league guard, or do you go ahead and move on from him and get some pieces back, maybe a draft pick for this year in 2016, or do you get some other pieces that maybe fit better long term? What you got, Gonzo? I'm going to let you go first.
I think the Lakers just realized that the Lakers are going to be pretty bad for a while. So right now, it's best for you to make as many moves for possibly more draft picks. D'Angelo Russell has proved nothing. He has had probably maybe 5 good games so far. Trade him. Somebody else can probably use those old pieces.
Meek, what do you think, man? Trade him?
I would not trade him. First off, I think this is partly LA just throwing him out there, hoping they can get a king's ransom for him, because someone's going to look at the possibility. He could still end up being a great player. I mean, he's 19, 20 years old, so he got a chance. So I think it's just hoping they can, they can hoodwink somebody and get some crazy deal for him. But at the same time, I still wouldn't trade him. I mean, because that makes them look really bad. They chose. I mean, I'm not going to say, they should have took Porzingis. Nobody really saw that coming, but the argument can be made they should have took Okafor over him. That would have been a much safer pick. It makes him look really bad because halfway through the season, we're admitting he sucks. But you can see the potential there, and I don't think they will suck for a long time because they could get Ingram or Simmons in the draft, and that, I'm going to call on Lance for this one. I see his hand is up.
All right, look. We got to wait till there's a coaching change.
Yeah.
That simple. I mean, because we already see he does not want to play these young guys.
No. And he even said he even thinks Russell's too cocky. That's why he took him out of the game. He was trying to be Kobe.
Do you want him to not be confident, or what do you want from him? Like, you got to wait for a coaching change because this coach is just for the tank. When they really want to win, they're going to get someone else.
Thibodeau.
I mean, anyone. I mean,
Monty.
Say what you want. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson with a bunch of young dudes.
Monty Williams.
He'd at least get them to that next level.
Yeah, I'd go Monty Williams.
So don't trade him until next year. If you're going to trade him, keep him. Because, you got to stay face. You pick this dude. You had the opportunity to pick who everyone thought would be the consensus pick and Okafor. Just ride him out, get a new coach, and see what that new coach can do with him.
Yeah.
If I'm Jerry Colangelo and the 76ers, everybody knows I'm a Sixers fan.
Yes.
If I'm Jerry Colangelo, I'm getting on the phone right now.
Yeah, y'all can afford that.
Have Jahlil Okafor, give us D'Angelo Russell. It solves our glut at the center power forward spot.
It's straight up, right?
Straight up, or do you throw in maybe a second-round pick? Or one of the 15 first-round picks they got this year.
Isaiah Cannon and Jahlil Okafor. You can have both of them. And I'll take back D'Angelo Russell, and you can give me somebody like Ryan Kelly or something. I'll take that trade all day. It gives us a point guard to pair with Ish, kind of a combo role. So we'll see. Okafor could take Roy Hibbert's spot at the center.
I don't even think Russell has stock to even get a straight-up trade with Okafor, honestly.
No. Well, he's got potential. I mean, I don't think you have. When you're that young, I don't think you have to have stock.
I'll take the potential. Russell.
And plus, you'll need a point guard.
Yeah.
I don't know if Russell will ever be a superstar. He could be. I mean, because look, we knew. I think most people thought Curry was going to be really good.
I didn't think he was going to be as good.
Like, I thought he would be good. I mean, when you dominate, that run as a sophomore in college, when you dominate those top-ranked college teams like that by yourself, he had some game. So I thought I didn't think he'd be this, though. I never thought he'd be.
I thought he'd be decent, not great at all.
And that's the thing with Russell. He may never be but he could be. He could be one of the top guards. He could be a top 10 guy. You never know. So the potential's there, and that's why I think they could get something for him.
The question I have, I guess, the most with the Lakers is if you have Russell, he's what 6'5", so you have Jordan Clarkson who's 6'4", 6'5".
Let him go.
Which one do you run at the point guard? Because they're both technically point guards.
D'Angelo Russell, his basketball IQ and his vision is so much better.
So if you keep Clarkson, who's a free agent, you put him at the 2 guard.
Shoot, I'd let Clarkson go.
Okay, so do we trade Lou Williams then? Do the Lakers trade Lou Williams?
Yeah, get rid of him.
He doesn't belong on this team.
No.
He needs to be on a playoff team.
No, he doesn't need to be there. They basically the only two if I'm them I'm keeping is Randall and Russell. If Randall, like he showed he can shoot that, maybe he's going to develop that nice little 17-foot shot. If he does, he'll be a dangerous player at that 4 position.
So you wouldn't want Clarkson?
No, see,
I'd get rid of him. I think he's more of a product of that system because they suck. I think he's good, but I don't think he's as good as his numbers say they are. That's where I think stats lie.
But they have pieces. Larry Nance Jr. is a decent piece off the bench. He'll be a rotation.
That's another one I'd keep. I think he's going to be a good
Anthony
player.
Brown's another one I'd keep. He's a shooter. We haven't seen much just because he's more of a timid rookie, but
he started against the
Max. No, that's
Gonzo, you got anything you want to add on the Lakers? Gonzo?
Oh, man, no, I don't want to add nothing on the Lakers. Nothing.
Come on, man, that's your second favorite squad.
Are they that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got a question for Gonzo. So if they get Ingram or Simmons in the draft, you think now they got a shot to be good in maybe 3 years instead of 5, or do you not?
Nope.
You think Simmons is going to be a bust?
No, I don't think he's going to be a bust. He might be a good player, but I don't think he's going to be enough to see. The way they're hyping him up, which I think he's a good player. They're making him seem like he's going to be the next LeBron. Like, hold on, that's pushing it. Seriously, that's really, really pushing it. I don't even see the guy playing defense like LeBron.
I'm sorry, is it just me? I actually like Ingram a little better.
No, hold on. Let me ask you this: DeMar DeRozan's an LA guy.
Yeah.
USC.
He's a free agent this year with a player option. He can opt out. Does he go back to Toronto or does he go back home to LA?
Does LA pay him max though? You think they want to?
He's going to be a max player.
Oh, yeah. He's going to get 25. Do they want that?
Absolutely, they'll pay. They were going to give LaMarcus Aldridge max money. They're going to pay him. They would have gave Greg Monroe max money. They'll pay him. I mean, DeMar DeRozan is one of the best shooting guards in the league.
Yeah, he's actually pretty good.
Athletic, young.
Yeah, he's nice.
Nice little mid-range game now.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got to get that 3-point game up though.
Yeah, I think he's a guy. I think you could. I mean, you pair him with Russell. If Randall can develop, you draft Ingram or Simmons. You sign a couple because they're gonna have a lot of cap space. You sign a couple more guys. They could be really competitive next year. Kind of like how they could be next year's New York Knicks.
All they need is that one piece in free agency. You get one marquee guy to go to the Lakers, and they're back in the fold because other players will follow.
What if they sign Kevin Durant?
He ain't going there with Byron Scott as the head coach. I'm telling you.
Well, if they sign Kevin Durant, do you think they're going to fire Byron Scott if Kevin Durant
we all agree that Byron Scott's not the coach.
He's gone. Yeah. Once he leaves, he's a domino. Once he leaves, everything's going to fall. And everything's going to happen like boom, boom, boom. You're going to start seeing more things. I think there'll be a playoff team in like.
I'm going to throw a name. I'm going to throw a name out there of a coach who I think could coach in the NBA, and he just. He's kind of like Steve. Man, give Shaka Smart a shot. I think he could be a hell of an NBA
got with
coach.
Texas.
I don't care, man. Give him a shot.
No, don't take him away.
Man, I have to.
No.
Hey, I have to. Man, Shaka
Smart.
I want
Calipari back.
Man, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. He wants Calipari.
You
gotta do more than recruit.
I think it's too high for the NBA. It's not going. His yelling and berating players is not going to work.
Yeah, I think. Pete, you think Shaka Smart could be like a Brad Stevens type coach? Because I think he's
more like a Mark Jackson.
And that seems like the way the NBA is going with these either brand new guys like Kerr and Lou, or go to the college route and get Stevens, because Stevens has been fantastic.
See, I'd want to see what Smart could do over about another 2-year period with Texas, and just kind of see where they go, and then give them a shot. Give them a little bit more experience in college.
With a bigger program and
Because he's going to
Tougher
recruit
schedule.
there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kevin Durant, Oklahoma City has they've been up and down this season. With Durant being a free agent and he's unrestricted, do you guys think that Oklahoma City is his prime destination where he returns? Does he go back to, basically where he grew up, with Washington? Or do you think another team sweeps in, that has available cap room and steals him away?
I think one of those there's a team that I think is going to sneak in there and take him, and they kind of gave a hint that they were going to take him. Golden State. Golden State.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
Golden
out there,
State.
yes.
Yeah, Golden
it
State
was
said
out there.
something about Golden State said something about they were saving cap room because they said they're going after Kevin Durant in the offseason. I believe Kevin Durant, but they would probably have to give us somebody like Klay Thompson.
What about? No, I don't think so. I don't think they would. You offer a package, let it, because they'll have, maybe you can make a sign and trade deal. Harrison Barnes, because obviously he's a free agent.
Yeah, he wants to be a star. He said.
Yeah. Let's send him over there. I don't think they have to give up Klay Thompson.
Okay,
They're going to want anything in return. So give up a couple future picks. Give up Kevon Looney. He's young. Maybe he'll be good. And Harrison Barnes, I don't know, maybe Mo Spates or someone. Send him to Oklahoma City. Give him Mo buckets. Give him Mo buckets.
If Durant goes to Golden State, though,
it's a wrap.
Golden State
It's a dynasty.
Golden State could possibly be like the Celtics of the 50s and 60s.
Hey, what's
fair,
crazy
man.
about what's crazy about it? And the Celtics, there was only like 10 teams back then.
Yeah.
The thing about it, though,
Now, and they could dominate.
with Golden State,
82-0.
if he goes to Golden State, you've got Curry, you've got Durant, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson all need the ball. They're all scorers.
But
Durant defers a lot.
But yeah, it works though, because Klay Thompson runs off screens. He doesn't have to go one-on-one. He runs off screens. He gets the spot ups. Draymond Green doesn't take a lot of shots. He doesn't care if he scores. Kevin Durant will come off screens. He'll shoot the ball. You'll give it to him some of the time, and he'll be in there when Curry's not in the game, so he'll have the ball. And then I think it'll work because they're not like Jimmy Butler. Like, as great as Butler is, he needs the ball in his hands, like, to create and make moves. Durant doesn't necessarily have to, and because they can all shoot.
Curry comes off screens a lot too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think he's staying.
Okay.
I think Westbrook leaves.
There's Oklahoma City. What does Oklahoma City do? I mean, you've got Ibaka and Westbrook,
Right.
and all the money they threw at Enes Kanter. But Kanter can't guard anybody on the defensive end.
Man, hey, they got to put him in there and start him. Let him score. Hey, if he's going to give up 15, let him start and get 20 points a game.
Play Ibaka at the center, or what do you do?
But
You could do it kind of like how the Warriors do, but only with the big men. Ibaka takes the best offensive big man. Like if they're playing the Heat, let Kanter guard Whiteside. Whiteside is trash on offense.
Right.
He has
Just don't let him get a rebound.
Exactly, and I think he can. Kanter's a good rebounder.
Right.
He rebounds the ball
And he
well.
can score. He just cannot.
Yeah,
play.
exactly.
And it's so bad that it just makes him miss fourth quarter minutes. I don't think KD leaves, man.
well, they don't have much cap room. Basically, they have $13 million in cap room available.
They would probably have to get rid of Westbrook then. Because
Westbrook.
I think Westbrook leaves because he wants. I think he's gonna be wanting his own team soon.
I mean, it's a huge gamble. I mean,
Hey, if Westbrook leaves, he's going to the Lakers.
That's what I'm saying. He's LA, UCLA, another. I'm telling you, and I would throw all the money at Westbrook, all of my money. I don't care what you say about him being a shoot. We've seen what he can do. I mean, and when KD doesn't want to, be aggressive, look who's aggressive, Westbrook. And in all fairness, OKC's been having some unfortunate injuries the last 3 seasons. So, I mean, I would try to keep that core together.
Man, I don't know.
But
I don't know if it can work. I don't know if it can work.
as far as they can with Westbrook and Durant.
Yeah.
We've seen them go to the finals.
Right.
We've seen the injuries hit. But it's pretty much based on that roster. I mean, your bench is Kyle Singler, Anthony Morrow,
Cameron Payne.
Cantor.
Cameron Payne is nice. I think
he
he's
might be a scorer, right?
I think you know what, Cameron Payne may be their point guard eventually, and they move Westbrook to the 2. Because P can play. He can play.
The core is not their problem, right?
No,
it's got to be.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's injury. Like, if you watch a game, when you watch the games in close games against good teams, the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and I know Nelson. I know he's the big Westbrook fan, but watch Durant and Westbrook. They take all the shots. They don't trust their teammates down the stretch. I think that's the biggest thing.
It's supposed to be a new offense.
Man, it looks the exact same to
me.
But
I can't tell anything. Donovan was supposedly not just going to let the ball roll out. He was going to do stuff.
You're going to bring in a college coach, and he's going to tell Durant and Westbrook what to do.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you hire a college coach.
You got any thoughts on OKC and kind of where they are before we switch over to the Eastern Conference?
Well, me, OKC, they should just blow that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, Jamal add a point to what Meek Mill just said. That's true. They go to ISO. Like the other night against the Knicks, Durant and Westbrook took every shot.
Yep.
They refused to pass to anybody else who was wide open. Durant took tough shots when he didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the one thing that separates them from being a chain. Because if you look at the Bulls, Mike would pass to Kerr, John Paxson. They trusted their teammates. Westbrook and Durant in close games don't trust their teammates. I can kind of see why, but.
Yeah, I was about to say, Singler's having one of the worst years.
Yeah, I mean, but I think you can trust Anthony Morrow to knock down an open three.
Yeah.
I think eventually I think they will trust. I wouldn't trust Waiters, right? You can trust Ibaka to hit a mid-range jump shot.
You don't want to play this team in the playoffs.
Waiters is their trade bait, really, because I mean that's kind of an asset you can still maybe get something out of.
Because he still got I really thought Waiters was gonna. I actually thought he was gonna be really good.
He's a bonehead.
He has no left hand.
Yeah.
You noticed the other night he missed a wide open layup.
You know who he reminds me of, and you might remember. Remember DeJuan Wagner?
Yes.
That's who he reminds me of. No left hand, and he didn't make it in the NBA. That's who he reminds me of. DeJuan Wagner.
Well,
could have been great if he had a left hand.
Well, that and he had a lot of health issues. Basically, had to have his whole colon removed. So
Whoa.
Hey,
Lance, you may be too young, but man, go look up DeJuan Wagner.
Well, he played for Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
He got drafted the year before LeBron.
Yeah.
Scored 100 points a game in high school. Man, the dude was a beast.
Allen Iverson didn't have a left hand either. He always.
But you know what though? But he was just super fast though.
Yeah, his speed.
His speed.
Got hard. Let's not compare Waiters to Allen Iverson, okay, Gonzo?
No. He said he didn't have a left hand. There's a lot of players who didn't have left hands,
but they weren't fast. Allen Iverson is like the fastest
lightning
dude.
quick.
Waiters misses fast break layups. That's what he does. He's all team fast break layups.
Did you see that shot against the Knicks? He took it from the baseline and shot it off the top of the backboard.
Well, I guess in fashion with the All-Star selection, the reserves tonight, the All-Star game is going to be in Toronto. So we've got the Knicks against Toronto. No Carmelo Anthony for the Knicks.
No Porzingis.
He's not playing in a back-to-back.
Tonight?
Yeah, Porzingis is out with an illness.
Porzingis is
watching.
I'm not even watching the game.
Yeah, basically,
I've
got it on in the background. I've kind of glanced a little bit, but not. It's 18-17 right now, Toronto.
Oh, they took the lead.
What's the second game? The West Coast.
Bulls Lakers.
Oh my God!
Because I'm a Bulls fan. Hey, I'm a Bulls fan. Kobe's going to play tonight.
Derrick Rose is back this evening. Derrick Rose is going to play.
Kobe's in.
Kobe's playing. So let's talk about Chicago for a minute.
Yes.
So with the Chicago Bulls, the injury to Joakim Noah, now the appendicitis
Nico
Mirotic, that's left them pretty thin at the power forward spot. So Portis will get minutes. Gibson will continue to start. They're talking about playing McDermott a little bit at the 4.
Yes.
That basically leaves them without the ability to trade Pau Gasol at the trade deadline like they really wanted to.
I think you could still trade him.
You think
if you trade him to the Clippers and get Blake Griffin.
Oh,
but the problem is then you would have to give up. You probably have to give up Portis in the deal too.
Because
I was gonna segue into.
Actually, you know what? Or could you give up Pau and Nico? Because they could still trade him even though he's hurt, because he's coming back in a few weeks.
I don't think Clippers trade Blake.
I don't think anybody really is going to go for Mirotic unless you put something with him. You'd have to almost package him with somebody.
Maybe you get a third team involved, throw in that Kings pick, because it'll be a top 15. Because the Kings, if they make the playoffs, will probably be 8, which if you trade that pick, it's probably going to be 15.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, it'd be pick 15. So, and there's some good players in this draft. So, and you can get guys. So maybe with that 15th pick may be valuable.
Gonzo, you're a Chicago guy, so I want to hear from you. What do you think with Chicago? They can't win with the pieces they have right now because they've had an up and down year already.
Unless they play the Cavs.
Yeah. What do they have to do going forward to get to that upper echelon to be able to outduel the Cavaliers and make the NBA Finals?
Well, I don't think they don't have any pieces that anybody wants, so that kind of makes it hard. I think the best thing is that Joakim Noah, and I don't wish injury on anybody, but the best thing is that Joakim Noah is not playing because it allows Bobby Portis to get more minutes. Another good thing is that Mirotic is not playing right now.
Hey, Gonzo, Portis is probably the one piece they have.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah,
and I think
because they're not going to move Jimmy. They're not going to move Jimmy.
Nobody will take Derek, obviously, but Nico, I think somebody will take Mirotic, but
yeah.
Mirotic, like I said, Mirotic and Joakim Noah are like and Derrick Rose, pretty much. They're like the biggest problems for the Bulls. Like Joakim Noah's holding up Bobby Portis from getting more minutes, and Nico takes a lot of bad shots.
Hey man, you watch all the games that you can, right? Because we're both Illinois games, so we get all the games. Is it just me? Is Stacey King every single game? Nico, take a couple steps in.
Yeah.
He says it every time, and Nico takes shots like he's Steph Curry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. 30-footers.
And they have like a natural arc on it. It's kind of flat.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know why he should go to because he can put it on the floor. He can handle the ball. Go to the rim.
He's too busy pump faking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's not like he has a bunch of jump on his jumper, so if you pump fake like 3 or 4 times, they're gonna be on you. The
pump fake only works when he's hitting shots.
Yes,
and that's not that often. That's the whole thing.
All right, let me ask you this: Mike Dunleavy Jr. The report came out. Basically, his dad broke the news on Sirius Radio, NBA Radio, saying that he's going to play a few games in the D League to kind of rehab himself to get back. Now, obviously, we all know Mike Dunleavy Jr. is not a defensive player, but
he's a good team defender.
He's a good team defender, and he actually can pass and help set up the scheme that Chicago's trying to run. He can knock down the 3.
Yes.
Does he make enough of a impact to kind of keep them at a marginal level competitive to at least make the semifinals?
No. I honestly, man, I think they're going to be in a conundrum right now because all that problem at the 4 position. Now, who's out of the rotation now? You got Dunleavy, Snell, and Doug. I love Doug, but I don't know.
Snell's ass on the bench.
I don't know. And I'm a big McDermott guy, but the problem I see with Doug, they don't give him – he should be getting 10 shots a game, minimum. He's one of the top 10 3-point shooters in the league. They run nothing for him. He sits in the corner the whole game. I don't know if it's because he's just sitting there. They're not running in. Maybe that's a product of the ISO ball. But if he's going to sit in the corner, he plays no defense. Like, he gives an effort on defense. I will give him that. He just gets beat so much. If Doug's going to score 2 points and give up 10, give me Tony Snell because maybe he'll get 5 points, but he's not going to give up as many as Doug. I think that's where it's got with the thing. And Dunleavy will probably end up. He's a smart player. He'll be in the rotation. He's still a good player.
What's that?
What do you think, man? What do you think
about Dunleavy?
Just Dunleavy. Is he able to keep them marginal enough to come back, or I guess I should say competitive enough to come back, get through the playoffs into the Eastern Conference semis, maybe face a Cleveland Cavaliers team or Toronto Raptors, maybe even Atlanta Hawks sneak in there.
The Knicks.
Okay, so put it like this. I don't know. Maybe not numbers wise, but as far as like not being able to like have players double team like certain players on the Bulls, I think they'll respect him. They'll respect like his offense. But I don't think numbers wise he's gonna do anything. But I think it'll change up little things as far as like double teams and defensive schemes against them. But I think they have a chance. I mean, I give them a punch of chance. Them and Toronto.
I don't trust Toronto. I don't trust Toronto.
That's what I'm saying. I'd rather
Kyle Lowry
Kyle
Lowry fades after the All-Star break, and Toronto disappoints in the playoffs.
I trust the Bulls more, man.
Oh yeah,
they've been there before. They have heart. They don't have defense, but it's the East, man.
I don't know, man. Their defense is one. I mean, what are they? Still the number 1 field goal percentage defense in the league.
Oh, they
still?
are.
Yeah. They're not bad.
So they're not bad. They're just not what they were then.
They look a lot worse than
right. Okay. Yeah. In all fairness, I don't watch a lot. I try to watch some, but it's just I don't like the way they play, honestly. So I don't watch them too much.
I think it's Derek. I think Gonzo will agree. It's Derek Rose.
I was going to say, Gonzo, I'm giving you the closing.
This
parting comments on Chicago. What you think, man? Before we jump on, I'm going to jump to the Raptors next.
Derrick Rose is one of the main problems. I think they wasted so much time with Derrick, and one thing about Derrick, I don't think it's just his body. I just don't think Derrick is mentally there.
No,
he's ever really been.
His brother has way too much control over him.
Oh, way too much control.
Hey, man, does his brother look just like him? I've never seen it, but when I was at the game, when I was at the game against the Warriors, we were pretty close, and I'm looking down. There was these guys on the court side, but on the baseline, right on the Bulls side by the bench, and I seen a guy, and I'm like, man, that guy looks just like Derrick Rose.
Yeah, no. But I'm gonna tell you something though. I know a guy that I work with, and he said that his father is like friends with like one of the trainers. He works at the United Center, but his father's like one of the trainers that trains with the Bulls. And he said that Derrick Rose, at the time when he got that ACL injury, he said Derrick Rose was hanging out with his brother, eating McDonald's every day, missing rehab appointments.
Oh man.
He said so his brother is really a clown. Like his brother's the one who came out with this free agency talk.
Yeah.
And got all this stuff started. His brother, remember a few years ago, his brother was like, oh, they're running him into the ground. He said something smart like that. Like,
so
first of all, your
his brother's the one running the show.
Yeah, his brother's pretty much running the show, and he should. If I was if Derrick Rose is just a tad bit smart, about that much more smarter, he fired his brother a long time ago.
Hell yes.
Honestly, I mean, sometimes it's not good to bring family into your business, like because after a while they start to gain control that you really didn't give over to them anyway. They tend to run the operation that they really have nothing to do with.
I just don't understand. I mean, I know Derrick Rose isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, and obviously his brother's not exactly. But damn, like he has to know his brother's kind of an idiot.
Hey, after I heard Derrick Rose say on a WGN interview one time, he said, we're just trying to get gooder. I knew he had. I knew he had a couple screws missing. I knew.
We're trying to get gooder.
I was trying to find the word. I'm like, hold on, I don't think that's a word.
Well, now we know why he had somebody take his SATs for him. So
give it to the good old Chicago public school education.
Oh man! All right, so the Toronto Raptors, real quick. So we all know that Kyle Lowry faded last season. He lost a ton of weight this year, slimmed down a lot. DeMar DeRozan's taken a step up, but they've had major injuries to Jonas Valanciunas and also to defensive ace DeMar Carroll.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. They don't really have a power forward because Luis Scola is splitting time with Patrick Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Toronto Raptors have enough talent on their team currently to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and be a competitive team? Gonzo, I'm going to go to you because I know you got to run.
Okay. I think it's fool's gold with Toronto. I see it as they'll finish like one of the best teams in the East like they did last year, and they'll still mess around and get swept by somebody like Boston.
Oh, man, yeah.
Man.
No, they're going to get busted by Kelly Olynyk.
And it's not because I don't think Toronto's not a good team. I just think that right now, if I'm not mistaken, Boston's 7 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
correct.
Toronto's 2nd. If Boston plays Toronto, I think Boston is much more. They're better coached.
And they've actually got a deeper team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have and I don't think Larry Drew. I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's just he has enough players to get him those wins to make him look like he's a great coach. But I don't think he has what it takes to even get him out of the first round.
He's a bum, just like his son.
Yeah, I just don't see him. I don't see him pushing him over the edge. To me, I'm gonna tell you something. To me, a successful season for Toronto will be just getting out of the first round.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win.
He was almost fired.
That's a win for them.
Last season. So, he was on the hot seat, and then all of a sudden, Toronto kind of made some noise, and then the playoffs they faded. But he is one of the coaches that is definitely being, kind of a product of your team turning around this season. So we're going to let you keep your job, but let them go on a streak, and he's done. So, Gonzo, do you have anything else you want to cover? Because I know you got to run, so I'll just give you the floor real quick before you head out.
Not really. I just wanted to add, man. Like, honestly, man, this is one of. I know it looks like Golden State is the number one team in the league, and it looks like nobody can beat them. But if you really look at a lot of these rosters, some of these teams actually have a dying chance. Just looking at the players, like they have the players that can do this. It's all about, are you going to be sold in? Are you going to be sold in to getting the job done? Are you going to be mentally prepared to beat this team?
You know who matches up well against them in the East if they could come out? Detroit. I'm not saying because they pounded them. I think they actually match up well with them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because KCP can guard Steph.
Absolutely, and Reggie Jackson
is relentless.
Will give Klay Thompson and will give Steph Curry the business.
Yeah, you got Drummond, who can move, is a big guy.
And Draymond Green's not stopping.
Are they going to hack at Drummond? You can't play him, right?
They'll foul him, but I mean, they pounded him the other day. Fully healthy Golden State team. Detroit pounded him a couple weeks ago. I think Detroit's good.
Yeah,
it's a disadvantage.
And they're well coached. Stan is an outstanding coach.
It's a disadvantage at hacking people, though, because it puts your players in foul trouble. So eventually, you might do it, but eventually you're going to have to stop.
Warriors are deep, though. Well, they're pretty deep.
So is Detroit. Detroit's got a nice squad. I mean, you bring Stanley Johnson off the bench.
They got to get there, man. They got to get there first.
I think they're good.
Don't tell me Brandon Jennings is a damn...
No, I'm not worried about
it. They got to get there first,
He could be a decent guy if he recovers from the ACL. I don't know how that's going to go. I think
Stanley Johnson.
I don't
Stanley
know that
Johnson is nice.
I don't know that Detroit has I wouldn't say they have a deep bench because Tolliver's not going to play on most teams. Aaron Baines is your backup center.
What's the guard they got from the Lakers? Played at Kentucky.
Jody Meeks.
Yeah, is he back? Because he's a good player off the bench.
Offense. Yeah.
Stanley Johnson, Jody Meeks.
Marquise Morris, the Morris twin.
Does he start for him at the 3?
Marcus is starting at the 3.
Yeah, I like him. They got a nice, and really all you need in the playoffs is 8 guys.
In theory, it sounds good, but realistically,
they're not gonna beat I don't think they'd beat them, but I think in the East they may match up with the Warriors better than anybody in the East. Just because you got Ilyasova at the 4, he can shoot the 3. He's gonna spread the floor. They're good.
Yeah. They got a lot of guys that spread the floor, which allow.
And Stan is gonna make them. They're gonna defend.
We'll play it on 2K16 and let it simulate and see what happens.
Man,
that's the only way it's going to happen.
Hey, 2K, the first time I simulated a season, the Clippers were the world champions.
All right, hold on. Real quick, because Gonzo's got to go. Gonzo, go ahead and get your rant on about 2K16.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get this out of the way.
Yes.
You said you want me to do it?
Yeah, you go, man. This is all you.
About 2K16?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, seriously, like I said, I think that 2K has a lot of potential. But I also think that a lot of people in the community, and I'm talking about just like the community like us. I'm not talking about like the devs or anything like that. I'm talking about just the people who just have been playing 2K for a long time. I think that the problem what's really hurting 2K is that the community is not keeping it real. I think that they give it so much praise. Like the moment I point out something that I think that really needs to be fixed, the first thing I hear is, oh, it's just a game. Everything's not perfect. But when I say I play NBA Live, then you're going to tell me how garbage it is and what's all the flaws with that. Like, no. Let's be fair. Live got a lot of flaws. 2K has a lot of flaws. Me personally, I think we need 2 basketball games. Why? Because iron sharpens iron. If there's competition, they both try their hardest to win the dollar, and they try harder to make each game better. You know, right now, like I say, 2K is running away with the gold, and it's like Live is kind of stuck back a little bit. And I think what most people are hooked on, most people are graphics junkies. Because it looks really great, they accept it. You know what I'm saying? They accept the fact that, oh, it looks great. So I didn't see all that. Like I showed a friend of mine how sometimes when you're coming off screens against the CPU, you're sucked into the screen. When you're really nowhere near the screen, you're actually going around it. It sucks you in. You know what he told me? I never noticed that before. No, because you don't want to see it. Because you like it so much. Like I said, 2K is kind of like the pretty girl. And NBA Live is like the ugly girl with just a few problems, but she probably does a few more things right than the pretty girl. The pretty girl is beautiful, and she has a lot of problems, but you're not gonna point out her flaws.
Live is like the butterface girl that has the great personality, and 2K is the pretty girl with the dull personality. More than that.
Exactly.
And the gameplay on Live better? Just the overall gameplay?
A lot of the animations on Live are very clunky and it's stiff.
That's what I will say. That's the one thing.
They need more post animations. They need more. They need to stop opening up the paint a lot to score. But I'm gonna tell you something. One thing they respect my body in the painted areas. They respect the fact that I'm standing in front of people. I'm gonna tell you something. If you go play a game of NBA Live, slow it up while you're passing. Go and look at the instant replay and watch how when you pass. When you're passing, the computer's actually visually wrong.
So the physics in the game are much better.
The physics are much better. That Ignite engine, I'm telling you something. If they fix the graphics on that Ignite engine, it could be explosive. I'm talking about. It was a time I did a pass on NBA Live, and I passed to Jordan Clarkson, and Kevin Martin was watching me pass, and he jumped out in front of the pass and missed because he was playing too aggressive. And I was able to go to the hole and score an easy layup. If that was 2K, I'm gonna tell you what would have happened. He would have had his back turned, nowhere looking at the ball. He would have magically tipped the ball in the air, turned around, caught the ball, and went on a fast break by himself, and nobody could stop it.
Easy dunk on the other end, right?
I've seen it where LeBron James, man, I'm stopping LeBron from his dribble. LeBron's doing all these dribble moves, and I catch him with a dribble move this way, and he'll come this way with no dribble.
There's no intangibility of the ball, man.
But
take 5 steps.
It's all about my team who's going to be the diamond player for the week. That's basically
right,
the moment.
Right.
The moment,
Dirk,
or whatever.
Hey, Dirk Nowitzki this week, right? What's he? The 90s?
04.
Dirk?
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, they need to hook you. Man, I think 2K needs to hook Lance up with that one.
Like I understand.
You need the code, bro.
This is something I understand. I understand this here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I understand this. I understand you want to create something in the game where every shot doesn't fall. But players like Steph Curry wide open ain't missing that often.
Man, hey, I played a game online the other day.
Wide open, not missing that often.
I went 0 for 8 wide open with Curry the other day online. I wasn't even I was running plays, getting him open 0 for 8.
Yeah,
with Steph.
Even with
come on, man.
You see the little algorithms with the blue circle. As soon as you start the game, they're cold, right?
Right.
I can make 5 layups and I'm still cold. What world are you living in?
That's one thing that they came out with that I didn't like earlier in the year. You know, reading the blogs and everything, where your player could start out, cold and they can heat up and everything like that. When you're in the real NBA, I mean, you're not cold for an entire game.
Yeah.
Look
at Curry last night. He was cold the third quarter. He went nuts.
Right, and it's almost like it's some kind of code on the back end that inhibits you from changing from hot to cold.
Right.
Same with, we've talked 100 times about the tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have big men sitting there crossing somebody over and then pulling up, from the mid-range, and then you've got guards on the, basically on the other side of that. The guards are sitting there missing wide open threes, wide open layups, and you've got players driving the lane. All of a sudden, the ball just magically ends up to the other team, and it's a turnover. It's like these things, gameplay-wise, need to be fixed first and foremost before you start adding Spike Lee into a storyline. Card.
Yes.
Well, we need Jimmy Butler. You didn't put out a moments card because Jimmy Butler put up 50-some points. Nobody cares about that except for arcade players that switched over from NBA Live.
But you got to realize why they do it, though. You got to look at it this here. Okay, we're sim fans, right? And we like the game to play a sim. I'm not looking to put Bill Russell on the Golden State Warriors. I'm not looking to do that.
No.
So somebody like me is probably going to pay my $60 and be just fine just playing the regular game.
Yeah.
My league
But-
regular.
But I'm gonna tell you something. You got a lot of Arcade Nation guys out here who are like wolves in sheep clothing within the Sim Nation. They like stuff like my team, and truthfully speaking, 2K is gonna feed them. You know why? Because people pay a lot of money for packs, VC, for outfits to wear at the park. And let me tell you something. You might sell 4 million games, and at $60 a piece, that's $240 million you made, right? But why would you stop there when I went to GameStop opening night to get the game, and one got about $200 worth of VC in cash?
Damn.
Yeah, they buy it. They offer it to me. I'm like, I don't want
You know
that.
what? I get it. I like the My Park, but the only VC I use is what I earn playing online. That's all. I don't ever pay extra.
Yeah. Like I'm tired of 2K. And see, a lot of people complain about the off ball. I don't complain about off ball defense because you know what? When you switch off ball, I can eat you alive now like I like to.
Yeah, now you can pass the ball and run an offense and get open shots.
Almost like I want to now. See, so off ball doesn't bother me. This is what bothers me about 2K. I'm substituting. I'm calling timeouts. I'm running plays. And I'm winning the first through third quarter, being effective, running a team like it should be ran. And this person, on the other hand, chooses a team like Golden State.
35 in the whole game.
They haven't ran one play except for you pick and roll, and I'm making adjustments. They haven't made one adjustment. Every adjustment is on auto. But guess what? They can come back from a 22-point deficit and beat you by 3 or 4
I can't
points.
play online.
Man,
That
you know
lag
what?
is horrible.
Man, that's why. I'll say it. I said it offline, off live last week. But I'll say it, man. That's why I got so frustrated online, man. To counter the cheese, man, I just used Golden State. I won't lie. And I still lost. I went 0 for 8 with Curry last week and lost by a couple points. And I run
can't do
plays.
online, man. They added a bunch of incentives, and I still can't play it.
Like what bothers me is, like I will run at the least the freelance offense. I'll run other sets, to get guys open, to get them shots where they want them, and I'll miss an open shot, running a play to get Klay Thompson an open three, miss. This dude comes down with Kevin Durant or Stephen, I forgot who he was using. I think it was he came down and shoots a fadeaway 3 with fucking Russell Westbrook in my face, cash money. I'm like, are you serious? I run an offense to get the guy the shot that he wants. He comes down and plays like an idiot and gets rewarded. That's what pisses me off the most. I can't stand that.
They got to eliminate the bad system. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The bad system is messing up the game.
Man, they've got to do a thing where they reward players who actually play the right way. Don't reward a guy for playing like an idiot.
Now there's talks based on what Mike Stoffer, who's the roster editor, kind of said earlier that they're going to have an update that comes out and adjusts the badges and basically does a review on all the players. I think that's the biggest thing that's hurt. The attributes, because you've got a lot of players with badges that are either way outdated or don't fit the player, at all. Like Derrick Rose should not have an acrobatic badge anymore.
Not anymore.
Not that player anymore. And it's almost like with 2K, they're set on, okay, well, we only have this much time to pay attention to 2K16 before we jump on 2K17. I think the biggest need overall, I know Czar and Mike and OG and Leftos and all of them are all basically, sim heads. But you still got the old regime that is Arcade Nation, and until we get more and more people that are in the OS forums that are pushing for that sim content and giving quality feedback instead of saying Jimmy Butler needs a moment card, say, okay, well, Jimmy Butler in the game, it should be based off of the real Chicago Bulls system. He's ISO Jimmy, and let's get it to play that way with the tendencies. Let's not focus on strictly my team and Spike Lee in a story. Spike Lee's not doing shit for the gameplay for the future. He's gone.
No offense to Spike Lee because he's done some good things, but man, nobody gives a damn about Spike Lee anymore.
Right.
They don't.
Let's be honest.
That whole Spike Lee story, that was nothing but that Chirac movie in 2K. That's all that was. Because all the actors, no, seriously, because mostly all the actors that were on that 2K video, they were the same actors that was in Chirac the movie.
You're right.
Hey, is that what Spike Lee pulling a Christopher Nolan now, taking the same people to be in his movies and stuff?
Hey,
Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, you got to go. I'm gonna tell you something. Go home and look at your 2K manual and look at all the people that helped produce the game. Now we know OG, Nazar. We know they talk we know they know basketball. They talk about it. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of those people on there, just look at some of those names. I bet you they probably haven't even touched the basketball. Just looking at the names, like I know he probably plays badminton.
Oh man!
And I don't mean I'm not trying to stereotype anybody to just
table tennis.
They're computer guys, and that's basically what they're.
Well, that's why
Ronnie
that's what Czar and them were there for, though, to translate it for them.
Now Ronnie 2K is all about FaceTime. Like as long as he gets his FaceTime,
he's a talking head. That's what Ronnie is. He's just there to represent. Honestly.
Yeah, he is. But that's what I'm trying to make. It's like they got so many cartoon people around. It would be hard. it would be so hard for Czar and OG to come in and even Mike Wayne to make like real sim. I'm gonna tell you something. They're in a losing situation. It's like 5 against
15.
5,000.
So that's we gotta keep fighting though. I mean, they're trying to do stuff.
With EA Sports' stock dropping, because basically they've dropped. I think it's 16%. So do they even have the chance to come out with a live 17? And if they do,
I think they do.
Okay, if they do,
for
how much
$30
does it improve?
For $30.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why they got a good chance. And I'm gonna tell you this is a very, very, very good reason. First of all, Madden got really, really good this year, and Madden isn't even great, but it's way better than Madden, and it's on par with 2K5 right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. Playing the game, it is.
Was 2K5 nice?
That was the best football game you ever want to lay hands on.
Yeah, see, yeah.
If you get an Xbox 360 and get the modded rosters on there for now, with the updated rosters, you will be playing that more than you would Madden. I'm gonna tell you that now.
Damn.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something now. Madden is much improved. I like the way Madden is this year. But you know why Madden got so good? Madden had Madden 10, and they had Madden 11. Then Madden had let go of a guy named Ian Cummings, who was over the thing before they had Rex Dixon and before they had Clint Oldenburg. They had a guy named Ian Cummings. Ian Cummings put the same game out about 2 or 3 years in a row, and the only thing he added was like game flow, which was like you quick plays in the corner of the screen instead you had to go back to the play calling menu. They ended up firing Ian Cummings, and they got Rex Dixon and Clint Oldenburg. But these last 2 years, Madden has suffered in sales. But this year, Madden sales rose up again, and they made a better game. But guess what it took? It took a hit in currency. Let me tell you something. You can't affect people or affect an organization or anything else until you affect the economy.
Yep.
You got to stop the money flow first. Like right now, if something happened to the Americans, if something like the World Trade Centers, when that happened, the terrorists affect our economy. Mm-hmm. Time to go to war now.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing even in just business. When it comes to business sense, 2K is getting all the money. They have no reason to change.
No.
But that's why I'm telling everybody in the Sim Nation, I'm sorry. I'm no longer reserving 2K. If you guys want change, this is the time now to make change. Stop purchasing it. Stop pre-ordering it, especially.
It's hard, though, because it's not.
I know it is.
Like with 2K, I literally sold it 3 or 4 times, and I bought it back about 2 or 3, and I finally sold it. I don't want to buy it again this year, but it's hard not to play a basketball game. And live animations are just too funny for me.
I know exactly what you mean, but that's the thing. It's almost one of those things where if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's what we keep doing. We keep standing up and keep standing in line at midnight. We get hyped up for all the stuff they tell us is in the game. Yeah. And when we get the game, it's not there. And guess what? They keep taking our $60.
And 2K16, it looked really good and it played really good. Like it was like we were on a honeymoon. And then after a while, I was like, man, that's not good.
But you know what? Like
really nice.
If they would have some of the gameplay stuff, if they would have kept it the same as before the first patch. Like some of the gameplay was on point, and it just changed after that first patch.
And it always does though. Those patches, it fixes one thing and it makes like 3 or 4 different problems for you.
But it's like
I feel like the hard work that OG put on the defensive concepts, it kind of ruined after that.
It absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like who they listening to. Like, I'm sorry, but like I go and look at 2K's blogs and look at Operation Sports blogs. Everybody who's complaining about off-ball D and defense being extremely too hard.
Oh,
like,
I didn't go 7 for 8. What the hell?
Most of these people are straight arcade nation. I don't expect to make every shot with Steph Curry, but I'm saying if I'm wide open, misses.
You know, you shouldn't go 0 for 10.
Right, that's all I'm saying. Like Steph Curry's not going 0 for 10 in any game from 3.
Yeah, no.
It's just not going to happen.
Especially
you know
wide open.
I'm tired of seeing players like Chris Paul jumping over Kristaps Porzingis and Carmelo Anthony for rebounds. It don't happen. It's not going to happen.
Right.
The stealing animations are horrible because I will touch the ball, but the ball don't go nowhere. But if it happens to my player, the ball is gone. Like even with the slightest of like spin on something, it leaves. But like when the computer is controlling it and they're dribbling, but you see the little yo-yo effect when I do the instant replay, it's a yo-yo effect. It like sucks back into his hand.
You know what sucks? Hey, if you play online and a dude is kind of reckless on defense and he just runs into you, you lose the ball just because he bumped into you.
That was big like 2 or 3 years ago. That happened a lot.
I hate that.
Ago.
Notice how the CPU's players defend. When you're on defense, your players are always playing with their backs turned, and they never make a play on the ball. But when the computer's on offense, their players are always playing face up, tipping everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't my players do the same? I can understand if the players' ratings are bad, but I'm talking about like good defenders. Like why is Kawhi Leonard letting players like perfect example? I'm gonna give you a good example right here. I was playing against the Clippers one time, and I got Tim Duncan on Chris Paul. I said, okay, I'm about to take his cookies because this guy cannot guard Tim Duncan.
Right.
I'm trying to post Chris Paul up, and Chris Paul is like a 3,000 pound anchor. Couldn't even move him.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't even spin off the score. I'm like, seriously?
That's fiction.
Like where's
fiction.
my chance? If I'm supposed to exploit the mismatch, that's a mismatch I should be exploiting.
Yes.
I would expect it more.
Chicken down there.
It's a lot of.
That's the biggest. I think the biggest problem they've had probably for the last 3 years at least is the speed engine and the weight engine.
Yeah.
As far as players are concerned, because I think they fixed it. They kind of there's a marketing ploy, of course, from their standpoint to fix. What was it, patch 3 or 4? I can't remember last year that they had that kind of ruined the attributes. So they fixed the speed ratings because originally it was they were going off the combine results, and I think I tweeted out last year. I don't remember exactly, but Patrick Beverley had like in the 60s for speed, and it was like, wait, what the hell are you going off of? And they changed it over to the Sports VU data. Well, they were able to kind of get a little bit change with the speed. You see faster players, things like that. They switched to the Hall of Fame scale to say, well, we're going to base it off the best players. Then you turn around and put Hassan Whiteside as the #1 over all-time shot blocker, and it makes you scratch your head like, are you spending all of your time trying to fix things that you broke in the past, or are we going to get something totally different for next year? Now, we haven't heard a lot from any of our Sim Nation heads. Big Czar, because obviously he's working hard on 2K17. OG the same. I'm just hopeful that all this hard work from them and their input outweighs some of the arcade guys that are there, because you do have some very talented basketball heads there that really did a lot from 2K15, 2K16. You can see a lot of big differences.
No defense in 2K15.
And it's not going to be perfect, but just from the amount of hours that they put in. I mean, Czar's before basically the start of the year, he was spending Saturdays giving us a tutorial of breaking down all the new offensive schemes he put in, just spending time. I mean, guys don't do that. So we have guys on our side that want the same thing. It's just we all have to go on OS and bombard it with quality answers when they ask us, what do you want to see? Because you've got guys saying, well, Steph Curry should shoot, 10 for 10 from the three-point line. I can't hit nothing. So then they nerf the shooting ratings. Then everybody's hitting all over the place.
Yeah.
And then you've got the defenses being able to be broken down. They fixed, the double team glitch last year, or this year from last year. Then you've got the steal glitch coming into play this year. So there's always going to be something that basically is a problem. But until we speak out more often, it's not going to be viewed overall from the company. Because 250 guys that are sim guys outweighed by 10,000 arcade people. Who do you think they're going to go with?
Oh, yeah. We got no chance.
Right. So what we see as basketball heads, and I have a pretty advanced, basketball knowledge, but I even dumb myself down to say, all right, even if I didn't know this, defensive scheme or know what the offense is being run in, it still should run a little bit smoother than this. You shouldn't have the choppiness of a screen being set or a damn player's hand coming out of nowhere and the ball just on a string and being stolen and the player goes down the court and scores. It's just not how it's supposed to be. And like I said, until people speak up and push the envelope, it's not going to change. I mean, right now it's all about my team. It's all about the Pro-Am. I mean, it's great and it's fun, but if you don't have quality internet and being able to keep that lag down, it's not fun. And for 2K to say, well, we're advancing things like that, there needs to be more explanation from more people than just Czar and OG and Leftos on what they're actually doing. Let's get some of the engineers in there and say, all right, well, we can't do this because of this. Put it out there. Sean O'Brien for EA Sports, he's basically the top dog there as far as for NBA Live. He's on there all the time explaining things. Why can't 2K do that?
But see, you gotta look at it. You gotta look at why 2K can do that though. I'm gonna tell you something. Once you've been hyping up and telling people what's going to be in the game and what's not going to be in the game, and people paying $60 in this game, you sold 4 million within a week. You can't come out and show that you have any deficiencies or flaws. You can't be upfront about that now. But that'll make people look at you differently.
It's bad business. That'd be a bad business model.
See, EA Sports, they didn't lost so much with just NBA Live, NBA Elite being canceled. They've lost so much. They don't have nothing to lose no more. So the truth and honesty is their best. Truth and honesty is their best way to win people back. I got a question. This is what I wanted to ask. I would like to know who exactly is doing the ratings and who's doing the weight and the height differentials or whatever at EA Sports. Because one thing I can say, if I got Tim Duncan on Chris Paul and NBA Live, I could bump him. I can use my weight and push him all the way back to the basket. If I run up the court on a fast break with Roy Hibbert, he moves extremely slow. But if I got Westbrook, it's a whole different ball game. I'm talking about speed. It's a difference in the two players' speed. On a fast break, I don't know who on a fast break on 2K, whenever you throw a fast break pass, they have to stop, turn around, look. Right. What's that sound like? Like, what's all
smooth.
that? It's not
delayed.
Smooth.
A lot
it's
of
very delayed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like NBA Live isn't like that. So my thing is NBA Live has its flaws with the graphics side, but it's like
they got the physics down.
It's almost like they're more sim.
Those animations are too animated for me, though. That's the thing.
You know why they look? You know what the problem is with Live? It's not even necessarily just the graphics. Like, you're right with the animations. Every player, like, dribbles the same way almost. They're almost like robots.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. They look like the way they move looks the exact same as it did, like, on the first PlayStation almost. But just better graphics.
But see, 2K is like this. 2K looks great, but 2K feels robotic.
Yeah. Delayed like on steals.
Now, NBA Live 10 was one of the better basketball.
Yeah.
I would put it on par with NBA 2K11 as far as one of the better games.
Live 10 was the best game since they made, what was it, Live 04? Live 04 was off the chain.
With Jason Kidd.
I think Carter was on the cover of.
Oh
Live
yeah, that was
Oak.
Carter.
Vince
Jason
Carter.
Kidd
That
was
is the
03.
best live. To
Yeah.
me, that's the best live game ever.
I remember that one and the one with Melo. Those are the two I remember most.
Because you know why the one with Melo? That's when they put the dunk contest and
Yeah,
all that
that's
back in it.
and that's how you do it. They did a
Yeah.
good job of that.
Yeah.
A great job, actually. I'm sorry, great job.
You know what 2K should do, man? Because I know a lot of people like. I'm not gonna lie. I love the 3-point shootout. If they,
they got to
put it
fix
in there,
it.
do it to yeah. But do it where you can go into like in the options, and that's one of the modes you. Hey, like in 2K, what was it? 2K12 that did it. Where you had to download it though, and you could just go in anytime you want. But don't do it like the way. What pissed me off about 2K12, like you couldn't choose every player for the 3-point shootout. Like you couldn't choose any of the rookies that year. Like you couldn't put Bradley Beal. Was it? Or no. What Bradley Beal wasn't in the league. It was like if you want at that time, like everybody was big on Jimmer Fredette. You couldn't use Jimmer Fredette in the 3-point shootout that year. 2K had to unlock him for you to use him. But they've got to do it where you can use anybody you want.
Is that dunking contest still Guitar Hero style?
I don't know. I don't do the dunk contest.
The last time I played it, it was like you got to press square at this certain time, press triangle at this certain time. I hate that.
That's freaking. I mean, I understand why they do it because I mean, I guess it would be kind of boring
it's
if
easier.
Hit X if you want to do this dunk. Just hit X.
NBA Live 05 dunking contest was. That's my favorite dunking contest experience in a video game.
I like the way the one with Carmelo, like the one with Carmelo, 05, yeah, that was tight.
The button combos, that was perfect.
That was tight.
Dude.
That was tight.
I haven't had that. I haven't had fun since then in dunk contest mode.
Yeah, the 3-point shootout, if they can, like, there's some little glitches, like, and it's not so much with the guy you're controlling, but with the computer, like, they'll just turn around backwards or something.
Right.
And they'll slide around it's like damn, and they get to the fourth rack and they're out of time.
Well, it's because they probably didn't put no. I'm not gonna say they didn't put any, but they sacrificed some gameplay stuff.
They did. They basically it was kind of on the back burner because they still got Steve Kerr doing the announcing. So it's not
Wait for the All-Star game. For the All-Star.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't know. I never played
a 3-point shootout.
I never played that mode, so I wouldn't know. That's funny.
Well, you know how you get into the 3-point shootout though? You sim through the season. Hopefully, one of your guys makes it. You select him, and that's how I do it. Because I actually like that mode. You know, I think Pete will agree with me. Being a shooter, man, you like the 3-point shootout. Yeah. It's a cool mode.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about 2K, my biggest complaint, and you know, I talked to Pete about it a little bit, is the simulating system. I have a roster full of like I'll have like 380 somethings and like 75s, but I'll still, like with the Mavs, I will still miss the playoffs. and you know what I do? I play 20 games, or I'll play like 10 or 15 games, and I'll win almost all of them. But then I'll simulate the rest, and so many injuries and so much stuff happens. I never make it. So it's almost like I have to play like 3/4 of a season to really make it.
It's almost like it's predetermined that you're not in.
Because guess what? A lot of times I will lose the same games. Like if I'll do it again, it seems like there's a certain part of the schedule and I'll lose a shitload at that one section.
You'll be the Mavericks and lose to the Sixers every time.
Now Gonzo can elaborate because Gonzo, tell everybody
very scripted.
that doesn't know this.
I played
Sammed. Yeah.
Yeah, I played the game from the first quarter to the second quarter and saved it at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back and played to maybe about the 2 minute and halfway mark of the third quarter. And I started noticing every time I got to the halfway mark of the third quarter, J.R. Smith shot a 3 from this same spot. And I knew the run was about to kick in. He would hit a 3. Next couple plays would always be a steal. And then Kyrie Irving would shoot a 3.
Cash money.
Now they up by 6. And they were always going a 10-0 run, closing out the third. Every time I started, we took the same 3 from the same spot. A steal always happened, and Kyrie Irving hit another 3. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is scripted.
So no matter what play you make, they're gonna steal the ball from you.
They're still gonna get the ball. That's the crazy part. And the gameplay is scripted.
People think we're crazy, but I play my league a lot. And I noticed some of the same tendencies happening. You know, I don't want to like I just don't want to say it's scripted, but it seems that way sometimes. You know, it really honestly does.
Yeah, Michael Carter-Williams hitting fadeaway threes on you.
Right.
Oh man.
No, I leave.
Hey, man, that happens to me all the time.
I leave Michael Carter Williams wide open because this guy can't throw a rock in the ocean.
No, cash.
But he's shooting 6 for 8 from
Yeah,
three.
he should. Or the big man will shoot a fadeaway and make it.
Dwight
I
Howard.
think first and foremost is going to have to be the tendencies. Just everything, the code overall, just from the very bottom is going to have to be rewritten.
That's going to take like 2 or 3 years.
It's going to take them probably till 2K18 at least if they rewrite it. And
I'll be banned in 2K18.
Now, Gonzo, you know you're going to get 17.
I'm not.
You're going to love it for the first 2 months, and then you're going to go, the hell with this. Here's
I'm
my
steadfast on this. I'm not playing no more games.
If Live goes down to 30, I will buy it. I can't buy it at full retail, bro. I can't do it.
I don't think they can sell it at full retail next season.
You know what? It just doesn't look good enough.
No.
That's the problem.
They'll put it out for a reduced price, guaranteed. There's no marketing they can survive.
I'm gonna tell you another thing that hinders Live though. If live developers are even listening just a tad bit, if they ever see this, that they limit themselves being able to sell it at full price because you take away all the customizations. I can't go and change the shoes. I have to wait till you update it before
it takes a while.
I can't do it. And it takes a while.
You can't edit the rosters at all.
Yeah, you can't edit the rosters or raise.
You know what though? I read a rumor that they are going to do Live 17. They are going to do it, and you will be able to edit rosters. I did read that.
That's another reason I couldn't buy it.
They're going to do that.
If they can do that, I'll buy Live. I'll buy Live next year.
They will edit the You will have the ability to edit the. I read it a couple weeks ago. I forgot where, but I did see that.
You can't edit a roster in 2016 now. Like
all they got to do in the codes is basically just flip a switch almost, essentially.
Like that's almost
that
like that's a given. In any sports game, a dude wants a fantasy.
You know what? And here's the thing. You know how you know they're capable of it? I remember it would have been Live 96. Michael Jordan was 99 player. All you had to do was go into edit, and this was on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Edit.
Type in the name.
Type in. All you had to do was put in Jordan, and everything would fill up for you.
Yeah, I remember that. Because Shaq was the same way. They didn't have him in.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And
you know why? It's because it was with the players' contract, like with the players' union. That's why Jordan couldn't be in the game.
Okay.
That's why it took him until it was Live 2000 when Jordan was in.
Yeah, and he could only play
and you had to unlock
right?
him. You had to unlock him. Like you had to beat him one-on-one, and then you could put him on a team.
That was my first basketball game right there.
Yeah. Then you could put him on a team.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the one with KG on the cover.
I don't even remember the cover.
It was KG. I think I was like a senior.
Was it KG or was it?
It was KG.
KG was 2000.
Yeah, it was KG.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
was a senior in high school then.
well, guys, we're going to wrap it up because I think we've gone long enough. We can talk more off air, but just want to say a shout out to everybody that tuned in. Thank you very much for this support and Big Czar, if you watch this, in the archive, we need you back, man.
Yes.
You're MIA. We need you back. We need the Sim Hangout. We need books. We need Rashidi. We need OG. Yeah. We need you. We need to get the Sim Nation back going. We want to hear about all the exciting things that are going on, no matter if they're working you like a dog or not. We want to hear some updates on what's going on with you and maybe some 2K insider stuff behind the scenes maybe that you can share. But
just make my mouth water again.
Yeah, exactly.
It is hyped.
We just want to hear from you, man. So looking forward to that, and we'll do this again. I'm thinking we can try to make it maybe a weekly thing for as much as we can, and going forward. We also want to reach out if anybody wants to be a part of this. Hit us up on Twitter. Basically we've all tweeted out kind of the links and everything. Just hit us up. If anybody has any topics they think that we may can touch on coming up, let us know. We want this to be driven around the community and or community driven, I should say, and keeping it strictly on the NBA. But I did want to touch on some 2K stuff, just because we're all big gamers. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining the Hardwood Hoops Hangout, and catch you next time.